What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name's Ross Nimmo from Society Barbering. Today I've got Brandon in the chair and we're going to be talking you through a skin fade crop. So the first thing we're going to do is wet the hair down. You say you want to go a little bit shorter on top today than usual, yeah? Yeah, alright, so I'll shave it all off, mate. The reason I'm doing the cut in the top first is because I want to create my shape beforehand, which is going to allow the clippers to ease into the hair rather than starting with the haircut with my clippers first, working into loads of bulk. With Brandon's hair, it's a little bit different. I probably could start with the clippers first because his hair is already quite short and it's already got quite a nice shape that I'm looking for. But if I was to start with someone who's just come in after a haircut of a few months and they got quite a lot of hair going on, I want to start with the top first just so I can build my shape. So first things first, section off the front, so I'm going to cut that last. I'm going to work in 3 panels, working front to back sections. Center section, right section, left section.
Yeah.
Something about that?
Yeah.
The reason I'm point cutting rather than club cutting is because I want to leave it with a softer, more texturized finish. So my center section done. Move on to the right. I'm going to connect that with the center. Okay guys, now the top's done, I'm just going to add a little bit of our Society grooming clay to the hair whilst it's wet, and I'm going to pre-blow dry that in. Really work it into the hair, get it right down to the root. I think it's quite important as well for you non-barbers out there who are waking up in the morning and struggling to style your hair because you're jumping straight out of the shower, towel drying your hair and then just throwing some product in it. Ideally, you want to use the product and the hairdryer to get the hair into the shape you desire before applying more product. It will leave you with a better finish rather than trying to maneuver hair that's not in its natural position. Just grab yourself a little bit of clay, pop it in. When you've got out of the shower, use the hairdryer, get it into the shape you want it. Then you can apply either a little bit more clay or even some hairspray just to hold it for the rest of the day. Right guys, now I'm going to get my number 2 and I'm going to start at the front. Just touching the fringe slightly. This is mainly for shorter crops rather than longer crops. And come around that side so you can see it a bit clearer. You have to be very mindful if you're using this technique as you don't want to cut away too much of the fringe. But as you can see, I'm following that shape round into the contours of the side of the head. This is creating my first guideline. Now I've got my shape in, I'm going to go in with my detailers to put my skin line in. Usually to about the temple line, but obviously it depends on the client whether they want a high fade, low fade, medium fade. It's down to personal preference. But you can see now that at the top I've set my guideline with my number 2. I can't go any higher than that guideline, otherwise I'm going to create a rounded shape, and that's not what I'm looking for, especially with a crop. I want to keep it a square shape, so when I'm looking in the mirror, I can see a square shape. Next step, guys, I'm going to get my Andis foil shavers, take it right down to skin. These are probably one of the best tools that's been released over recent years, especially for barbers doing the skin phase. Makes their days a lot easier, but also for customers at home, if they want to shape their beard up or they want to have a shave, but sometimes their skin gets irritated with a razor blade. This is a really good tool to grab yourself to use at home. Working in circular motions because I want to lift the hair that's sitting flat. Now I'm going to grab my Andis Slimline Pro and I'm just going to work up ever so slightly just to bridge that gap between the foil shaver and my zero line. Just take away any slight imperfections in that line. I'll repeat the process on the other side. So what I'm going to use here is a technique when fading called guard skipping, quite commonly used, one of my favourites. So I'm basically going to skip a guard and I'm going to come back down a guard and knock that line out. So I've done my zero, my skin, and then I'm going to go 0.5 and then back down to my zero. 0.5. Probably working about a finger's width space between guards. Just making sure clippers are picking up all the hair. I'm going to come back down to my zero. Same again, I'm going to skip a guard, so I'm going to go from my 0.5 to my 1.5, my 1 open, and then I'm going to come back down to my 1. Always flicking away from the head because I want to keep that square shape and we don't want to go up and go too far in. I'm going to create a round shape. Now I'm going to skip a guard again and go back up to my 2, to my previous guideline. And then back down to my 1.5 guard. Just using the corner of this 0.5 guard just to finesse the haircut and pick out any little dark spots or imperfections that I might see or that I'm not happy with. It just smooths out the rest of the blend. Repeat the process on the other side, guys. All right, guys, now that's done, we've got to sharpen it up. So this is the point where you have to be very careful, as it's one of the most important parts. I'm going to start in the centre. I like to use a tap and pull method rather than pushing into the hairline. Touch where you'd like it to be and then pull the hair away. Tap and pull. And then I'm just working round. It's very important not to create a hairline. You want to use the natural hairline that's there. Otherwise, after 2, 3, 4 days, it's just going to get a load of grow back. And it's not going to look good. Now onto my scissors. I'm just going to dust off any loose ends, just blend that sides into the top.
Instinct.
Moving on to my cutthroat now, last finishing touches. Always make sure you've got a fresh blade in there. Again with the cutthroat, I'm just following the line that I previously made with the trimmers, not going in any further. All right guys, nearly at the end. Just gonna dry them off. Pop a little bit of some styling powder in. It's gonna create good volume and texture, which is what I'm looking for. And there it is guys, our modern day skin fade crop. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel, and you can also follow us on our social media platforms. Society Barbering on Instagram, the same on Facebook, and we'll see you soon guys.